It's Caitlin and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make 3 mango recipes that are perfect for summer but are savory instead of sweet. So if you didn't know, I live in Miami, Florida, and here in South Florida there are a ton of mango trees. When I go out for my walks in the morning or in the evening, I see at least 10 every time, and there are seriously mangoes just like falling to the ground. So I like to collect them because who doesn't want to turn down a free mango? But I was getting a little bit tired of just eating plain mangoes and eating them in a sweet way all the time, so I decided to challenge myself to come up with some savory recipes, and they're all so good that I just had to share them with you guys. So today we're going to be making an easy mango salsa, some Mango Buddha Bowls with a Chipotle Quinoa, and last but not least, some mango curry jackfruit tacos. I will have the full printable recipe for all of these dishes up on my blog, and each recipe will be linked in the description of this video, so be sure to check that out if you want to make it for yourself. Whether you're just a mango lover or you have your own personal mango tree, I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna love these recipes, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first we're going to be making an easy mango salsa, but before we get started, I actually wanted to show you guys how I like to cut mangoes because I actually do get a lot of questions about that. So I cut the mango from the top and I kind of imagine it like a circle, and the pit of the mango is round and shaped like an oval. So I cut off the first cheek using a knife, and then I just rotate the mango to the other side and make sure I leave enough space for the pit, and then I cut the other cheek off as well. Some pits are thicker than others, so I usually like to give it a little room just in case. And then after you've cut your mango, when you're eating your mango, you can choose to either score it, which is what I'm doing here. So you just use the knife to sort of dig into the cheek of the mango and you make a crisscross pattern. You can do this on a cutting board. If you do it on your hands, just a disclaimer, make sure you don't cut through the mango and cut your skin. So once you've scored the mango, you can either push through the center of the mango and pop it out like this, and then you can enjoy the mango this way, or if you want to be a little bit more neat, you can scoop it out with a spoon. But those are the 2 most common ways that I personally eat mangoes. So back to the salsa. I used half of a mango cheek and the center portion of a mango. And another side note, just make sure you're using a really ripe and juicy mango for all of these recipes because it's definitely going to affect the flavor. So I put those in my food processor and I just blended it up to make a mango puree. And because my mango was super sweet and juicy, I didn't need to add any water, but if your mango is a little less liquidy, you might need to add a few tablespoons of water just to help the process come along, but this is what my finished mango puree looked like. We're going to need about half of a cup. And because this is all coming together later, we don't need to rinse out our food processor, so now we're just going to add our red onion, and I pulsed that in my food processor just to chop it up a bit. Then once that was broken down, I added in 1 red pepper, and I added in a whole jalapeno, but I only kept 1/4 of the seeds in the pepper. You can add more or less if you want, but keep in mind that that's going to make it more or less spicy, and this was already pretty spicy as it is. So after I pulsed everything again, as you can see, it's pretty finely chopped. I transferred that to a bowl, and then I added my diced Roma tomatoes. I didn't put these in the food processor because I like my salsa to still be kind of chunky. So I added that to the bowl with the processed veggies. I also added the other portion of the mango, some cilantro, and our mango puree. And then I also added the juice of 1 lime to give some acidity to the salsa, and then finally I added a little bit of salt to bring out the flavors and help everything come together. So after you mix this, it's probably best if you let it sit for a few minutes just so the flavors can incorporate, but it is ready to eat. So I served mine with some carrot sticks, some fresh bell peppers, and some baked tortilla chips that I made in the oven. This salsa comes together super fast, and I can't believe how easy it is to make my own salsa. I definitely am going to do this more often, and I love the subtle sweetness that the mango brings to the salsa. I find that is super refreshing, and this would be a great snack to have during a hot summer day or just whenever you're hungry and feel like eating some salsa. So then for our next recipe, we're going to be making a Mango Buddha Bowl. And first we're going to make some smoky chipotle quinoa. So we're going to add some chipotle powder, some onion powder, and some garlic powder to some quinoa into a pot. And I decided to toast my quinoa first. So you just don't add any liquid to the pan to start out, have it over a high heat, and you cook the quinoa this way until it becomes a little more golden brown and fragrant. And this lets the quinoa have a much more nutty flavor. So after you feel your quinoa has properly toasted, you're going to add the proper amount of water and bring this to a boil, cover it, and then simmer it for 15 minutes. While the quinoa is cooking, I added some water to another pan and I just steamed some kale. I took a few large handfuls of it. I pretty much just fill a small pot, and then I cover it and allow it to cook down until it is nice and steamed. So by this point, your quinoa should be done cooking, so you can add a little bit of salt according to taste and then fluff it up with your spoon, and our bowls are ready to assemble. So to start out, I added my steamed kale as well as my chipotle quinoa. Then I decided to add some black beans to give a little more plant-based protein, as well as half of a small chopped mango, half of an avocado, some cilantro, and then finally I used the juice of half of a lime to sort of incorporate all the flavors together. And that's it for this bowl. This bowl comes together in just about 20 minutes or so, so it'll be a perfect weeknight dinner or something you could easily meal prep and bring to school or work. I think it would be great either hot or cold. And this is what it looks like once you mix everything together. It's seriously so satisfying and delicious. Just watching this makes me want to eat it again. And then finally, we're going to be making some mango curry jackfruit tacos. So first, we're going to prep some of our veggies. We're going to be using a red onion, red bell pepper, and 3 cloves of garlic. So here's another life hack. If you're looking to peel your clove of garlic, you can just mash the top of it with a knife like I just showed you guys, and then the outside skin should peel off pretty easily, which is a lot easier than the way I used to peel my garlic. So once you do that to all of your 3 garlic cloves, we're going to mince the garlic, and I'm just using this little tool that I have here. You could also use a knife if you don't have that. So once you finish that, we're going to move on to our other veggies. So for my red pepper, this is how I cut my red peppers. Also thought I would show you. I think it's really easy. You just cut around the sides and it makes the red pepper pieces really flat. I don't know if I really have a life hack on how to cut a red onion, but this is how I cut my red onions. And then we want our onions to be pretty thin, so we're going to be using a mandolin to thinly slice them. And pro tip, use the palm of your hand when you're using a mandolin. Don't use your fingers so you don't chop yourself. A lot of them also have safety tools so you don't have to use your hand directly on the surface anyways. But as you can see, as we're cutting our red onion, the mandolin cuts it really, really thinly, and this is going to be great for our recipe because we don't want huge chunks of onion in it. So after you've chopped the complete onion and you have a plethora of red onions for our recipe, we're now going to move on to the red pepper. And I just cut my red pepper into thicker strips because I wanted it to still be pretty prominent in the recipe. So now we're going to move on to the jackfruit. For this recipe, you want to make sure you have jackfruit that is in brine. So as you can see here, you want it to be in sea salt. You don't want it to be in a syrup or a liquid because this is more of a sweet jackfruit, and this jackfruit that we're using is savory. So this is pretty self-explanatory, but I thought I would show you. You're just going to open the can of jackfruit and drain the excess liquid out. And for some reason, I really don't know why, my second can of jackfruit was a lot more pink than the first one. I don't think anything was wrong with it, and I'm still standing, so I don't know. Just adds extra color, I guess. So after you've drained your jackfruit, you're just going to use your hands to sort of pull the jackfruit apart. And as you can see, it becomes this sort of like shredded fake meat alternative. So this is used a lot in pulled pork sandwiches, and it's going to be the fake meat basis of our tacos. So once you've shredded all your jackfruit, it should look a little bit something like this. Maybe it won't be multicolored like mine, but you never know. And then finally, we're just going to make some mango puree. So we're only going to need about 1/4 cup for this recipe. So I only took half of a small mango and I added that to my food processor. And like last time, I just blended it up until it was pretty smooth and creamy. So once that is all finished, we're going to move on to cooking everything. So first you're going to add a little bit of water to your pan, as well as most of your red onions and all of your red peppers. You're just going to bring that to a simmer and let those sort of soften and cook down. And then once it's been about 5 or so minutes, you can just give it a good stir to make sure everything is soft and cooked. Then we're going to add in our garlic and our curry powder. You can also add in salt at this step, but I didn't rinse my jackfruit and I thought it was pretty salty, so I decided not to add salt, and I was really happy with how the salt level was at the end of the recipe. So once you've let that stir and cook for a little bit, you're going to add in your jackfruit, 3/4 of a cup of light canned coconut milk, and then our 1/4 of a cup of mango puree. So then you're going to mix everything in here together and make sure it's well incorporated. And then you're going to cover the lid on this and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And then as you can see, it gets a little bit more liquidy here. So then we're going to let it simmer uncovered for 5 minutes, just so the extra liquid sort of dissolves and the mixture gets a little more thick. So after that happened, this is what my final jackfruit mixture looks like. And I just wanted to give you guys a close-up. As you can see, it really does resemble shredded meat, but it's vegan. So now we're going to assemble our tacos. I am using corn tortillas here, but you could use any tortilla that you really want to use. And then we're going to portion out a little bit of our curried jackfruit, as well as some of those sliced red onions that we set to the side and didn't cook, plus some cilantro. And then finally I added a few mango chunks just to give a fresh burst of mango, because you can taste it in the curry, but I wanted that extra hit of mango. So that is it for our tacos. You could add in any other veggies, or maybe a vegan sour cream drizzle or some vegan cheese if you wanted to, but I thought these were pretty bomb just the way they were. And if you are looking for jackfruit, you can buy the cans of it online, but I know if you live in the United States, Trader Joe's also recently started selling it as well. Alright guys, that is it for these recipes. Let me know which one was your favorite and which one you're going to try first down in the comments below. And also, if this is your first time coming to my channel, be sure to click that little subscribe button down there. I post 2 new videos every single week, and if you have any video suggestions as well, you can feel free to comment those down below too. Ooh, and also, I just made a Pinterest page for all of my recipes, so if you guys are active on there, be sure to check that out. I'll also have it linked down in the description. Lots of things down below, so, you know, check them out. That was awkward. Anyways, I think that's everything, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever time of day it is for you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!